Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are seeing one of the important static topic and also very much current affair oriented, that is all about India's contribution to non-alignment movement, its different phases and the current role. I have to tell all of you students that the current role has been diminishing. It's not flourishing. The current role with regard to the NAM is diminishing, it is not flourishing. Remember this point here. And why is it diminishing, and do we need to go for its revivalism? This is important. Do we need to revive it? And obviously any country will go for revivalism only because when they have the national interest in it. So reviving the NAM, whether it will benefit India or not, this is the bigger question here. If it benefits India, then obviously we are going to revive it. If it does not benefit India to that extent, we are actually participating less, going and representing the NAM conferences through secretaries, but not with the highest level of delegations like PM or the President G. Getting my point here. So NAM we are talking about, but this is one of the important. What is NAM? Non-alignment movement. Actually, why we have to study what it is all about. It's all about what the foreign policy direction. The foreign policy direction, how we want to pursue our foreign policy. Always remember this point whenever I am talking about foreign policy. It means what? Which country you are going to have diplomatic relation, that is called as foreign polity. Which country you are going to have diplomatic relation, that is called as what? Foreign policy. Now the diplomatic relations could be on the basis of what? You are going to have a relationship with other countries, to have MOUs with regard to defense, and MOUs with regard to agriculture technology, MOUs with regard to cultural exchanges, MOUs with regard to migration, MOUs with regard to extradition, MOUs or lateral agreements with regard to what? Trade, with regard to investment, etc. so and so forth. These are various areas basically we deal with other nations. Because we are in a globalized world. When you are in a globalized world, you understand the point here that to and fro movement of labor, to and fro movement of capital, to and fro movement of technology, to and fro movement of investment. Whether all of these we are able to do with all other countries which are also classified as rest of the world, India plus rest of the world. This is basically called as what? Foreign policy. And the never be too late, the government of India has now showed its condolences with regard to the death of Iran the supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei, and in the foreign secretary of India has went to the Iran embassy in our country, that is in Hyderabad. We have the Iran embassy. They went, he went there. It is in Delhi also, I guess. He went there and he has paid his condolences with regard to the death of Iran supreme leader. So finally India has shown its condolences for the death of a leader of a country. That is very important, because you have to actually show condolences to a leader of the country. How he is, that is not important. How he was, that is not important. What has he done, that is not important. But he's dead now as a normal person. How bad he is if he dies nearby us also, we always say that peace be upon him, right or wrong. So that is minimum we need to do, that minimum we have done. What is India's contribution to the non-alignment movement? Remember this point. Non-alignment movement is basically not aligning with any other power blocks. Not aligning with any other power blocks. There are only two power blocks we are having after the Second World War. The one power block is led by USA plus Western European countries. The other power block is led by Russia, which is also having USSR, the Belarus, Poland, Ukraine, Kazakhstan. They are also part of once upon a time what? USA, Mongolia, etc. so and so forth. So there are two power blocks are there at that time. So why we call it as movement? Why we call it as movement means what India has propounded, what India has proposed, what India has envisioned, that India is not going to be aligning with this power block or this power block. That has also been taken as one of the important foundational principles of many other countries' foreign policy. So many countries join the same race. That's why we call it as what? Movement. Just like what has happened with regard to Me Too movement. One actress spoke about Sajid Khan with regard to the casting couch and the way he has misbehaved with them, etc. All other actors started talking about their experiences. That became into a movement or not? Yes, I'm talking about this. Why? Because this has already been in the PSIR optional question paper. There was a question on Me Too movement. Okay, that's why when I'm talking about non-alignment movement, it's not just India who pursue it. Many other countries have followed the steps of this particular non-alignment policy of India. That's why it led into a movement. Okay, remember one point here: non-alignment movement is a informal movement. It is an informal movement. It is not on paper. It is not on paper. It is a ideology. It is a ideology. Remember this point. Ideology is very simple. Do not align with any power blocks and try to stay neutral. Try to stay neutral. Try to balance both the power block. Try to balance both the power track, and make sure that yourself, national interests come first whenever you are talking to any other countries. You don't, in the name of national interest, you should not be dictating the dictation or the coercive tactics or politics of any USA led or Russia led. You have to always see that which actually benefits to our country, that you need to bolster, that you need to flourish. That's what is called as non-alignment movement. I hope this is the important concept with regard to non-alignment movement is clear to you. Let us go into discussion. As a UPSC PSIR aspirant, this is very important. Whenever you get this particular question, this is your remember this point, the introduction. Jawaharlal Nehru, the architect of the India's foreign policy, prioritized non-alignment movement and solidarity with the developing world. Solidarity means nothing but if you are hurt, I am hurt. Okay, don't be hurt. Okay, it's okay, it's cool. Let us build a very good world. Okay, let us fight with what we have gone through. Let us fight colonization. Let us fight against apartheid. Let us fight against poverty. When we show each other this sympathy and when try to go into the relations with regard to building relations on this and sharing the same ideology, we call it as what? Solidarity. That's what we call it as solidarity. So Jawaharlal Nehru, the main architect of India's foreign policy, prioritized non-alignment and solidarity with the developing world. The nation was very much guided with the policy until 1980s. Significantly, from 2017 onwards, the historic Asian Relation Conference started. Okay, the Asian countries are those countries which has been mostly colonized, and if I say you precisely, the countries which has been colonized are the countries which are in the southern hemisphere of earth. Okay, that's why we call it as global south solidarity, south solidarity, because all the country, whether it is Brazil, whether it is Argentina, whether it is Chile, whether Uruguay, whether Paraguay, whether Somalia, whether Mogadishu, whether Namibia, whether South Africa, etc., so and so forth, whether Bangladesh, whether Iraq, whether Afghanistan, whether India, whether Pakistan, whether Indonesia, whether Malaysia, whether Myanmar, etc., so and so forth, all of these countries have suffered the same fate from the imperial powers as we have suffered. As we have seen 180 plus rule of very oppressive rule of British government here, the same has been also experienced by all the South. So we are actually forging here South solidarity. That's why India, within the southern hemisphere, India is the largest leader with regard to its defense, with regard to its space development, with regard to its investment, with regard to this economic side. That's why India is going to be a leader of the global south. India is going to be the voice of the global south, that is for sure in the near future. Okay, so remember this point here. So that's what the Asian countries together was actually celebrated Asian Relation Conference in 2017, which marks 70th. Okay. Once upon a time in the you can see that Nehru chaired the conference first time, which was held in the year April 1947, attended by many leaders from the Asian countries which were gaining independence, just like India was gaining at the time. Leaders of 29 nations, including from China, Egypt, Indonesia, Iraq, attended the conference's Bodong, that is in Indonesia, if I am right. Okay, so all of these nations which have suffered very badly with regard to the imperial powers with Germany, France, Portuguese, Britain, etc., so and so forth. Okay, they showed solidarity with each other by saying that okay, we will fight against poverty, we will fight against injustice, we will fight against colonialism, we will fight against imperialism. These are the tenets on which the particular norm has been established, and all the countries who are a part of the norm actually generally promote this only, and promote not in the sense promote but fight against this particular poverty, injustice, and advocate anti-colonialism and advocate anti-imperialism. They made it very clearly in the conferences. Okay, they don't want to get involved in the Cold War. Okay, they don't want to side with the United States or Soviet Union. No, okay, they don't want to be a part of any of the power blocks. We want to have our own foreign policy which is not dictated by any power blocks. They are very much clear about it. As of India today is very much clear about it. Even though USA said not to buy oil from Russia, we still do it. Okay, we still do it. We are like forging our own national interest. Okay, they made it very clear that we don't want to be into the hustle or in the tussle, or we don't want to get sandwiched with regard to what two power blocks. They are very very happy to be following their own personal interest, own national interest. Okay, that has become the main tenet of India's foreign policy in the next 40 years too. Okay, this is the introduction that you are going to write in your mains examination. Please remember this point. Okay, so the moment you get a NAM question on UPSC, whether in GS paper 2 or whether it is in PSIR, this is the introduction that you are going to write. You sure you're not going to leave it, and there is one question will come on this. So one question, one introduction is enough that you have to by heart. But if I whatever you do, but you do it and go. Non-alignment was and today as a policy fashion during the Cold War time. This particular policy came into being to retain an autonomy of policy. All the Asian countries who have got independence, or any other country who have got independence, they have to retain the autonomy of policy between the two political military blocs. The non-alignment movement provided a platform for newly independent developing nations to join together to protect this autonomy. It was a desperate group for many continents with varying degrees of proximity and dependence upon on the other bloc, and broadly united under the NAM's flag. Okay, we always advocated decolonization, universal nuclear disarmament. If you ask us not to possess nuclear bombs, you should also not possess. That is what we preach for. Against apartheid, against oppression, against suppression, against famine, against low development. That is called as what? Apartheid. Okay, giving just human living condition, okay, is opposite of what? Apartheid. So you can see that it was a desperate group of from many continents, different countries have come with varying degrees of proximity, whether you are near or far away, dependence on one other bloc. Okay, maybe we may be not depending on Russia, or maybe depending on China. Sometimes we depend on China, sometimes we depend on Russia, sometimes we depend on USA. Maybe we are depending, or we may not be depending. Like Australia is at once colonized but still dependent upon what? Still dependent upon what? USA. Mexico is one as again colonized, still dependent on what? USA, etc. so and so forth. So maybe today we are having to some extent proximity maybe with the power blocks, but not complete proximity, not complete dependence we are going to give to any of the power blocks. That is what the NAM says. NAM has this broader. So any colonization, if any other country does, okay, you in the United Nations, India will speak up, Egypt will speak up, China will speak up, Indonesia will say no, you should not invade Sudan, you should not do this. Okay, like that we are the crusader of what? Decolonization. We are the crusader of what? Disarmament, etc. so and so forth. Okay, getting my point here. Introduction. After the independence in 1947, India entered a deeply divided world. Many countries sided to USA, many countries sided to Russia. Okay, that is what the United States sided countries are basically a capitalistic bloc. The Soviet Union sided countries are basically of socialistic bloc. The ideology rivalry defined the Cold War. Newly independent countries faced problems to align with one bloc. Either you go to this bloc or this bloc, just like what has happened. Okay, Jammu and Kashmir, that we have at a time, Jammu and Kashmir was given a chance whether you want to go here, whether you want to go. Jammu and Kashmir sided with India. Okay, Hyderabad, my Nizam state want to join, don't want to join here and here. So basically what Nizam has actually followed, okay, not to join with India and Pakistan at the time of what? Independence. In the same way, we also said that we are not going to join any of the power blocks. Okay, India choose a third part, which is what? Non-alignment. Okay, what was the NAM movement at the time? The NAM movement, okay, was formally established in 1961 at Belgrade. You can see the Jawaharlal Nehru is one of the founding fathers of what? NAM. Remember this point here. Non-alignment did not mean isolation. It does not mean that don't talk to USA or don't talk to Russia, don't just be isolated from these power blocks. It's not at all about it. Okay, non-alignment movement is basically it does not mean only for isolation. It just say that India should have an independent foreign policy. No one should interfere which country we are going to talk about, which country we are going to have relations, which country we are going to buy weapons. No one should interfere in our matters. So India basically promote that we are having independent foreign policy. We are not going to have any military alliances with either USA or USSR. Okay, we are not going to have a NATO-like blocks with any other countries, and we will ensure our strategic autonomy is intact. Strategic autonomy is nothing but if in our country oil is very much imported, 80% of oil is imported in our country, and if any country supplies us oil in lesser price, we'll go and buy from it. So that is our strategic autonomy. So what matters to the nation most, that will be flourished, that will be bolstered sponsored by the government, okay, irrespective of taking any dictates from any other country. Following leaders were the founding father of the Nam, Jawaharlal Nehru, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Josip Broz Tito, Yugoslavia, and once upon a part of what Russia, and Sukarno, that is Indonesia. Okay, so this particular area we will be discussing in the second lecture of Nam. I hope this is all clear to you. Let us keep very simple. Okay, in the next class I will be giving the lecture 2 of this Nam. Okay, till then, if you have anything to talk about, write in the comment section. I will be more happy to help you out. And I'm going to start the polity and international relations and economy SNT current affairs for the UPSC 2026. Do watch me and do score high with my videos. Thank you. Do join my PSIR classes and mentorship session. You will make a difference in the examination for sure.